Okay, so structural unemployment is going to be the next one to talk about here. As times change, so much the skills of the workforce. What does that mean? That structural unemployment is going to happen as well. We just don't really know how often it's going to happen. What we have to understand is that as time changes, so are the people that are going to be working there. If you go back, way back when, we've talked about this before, you think about prior to the Industrial Revolution, everybody was going to have some sort of farming skills. Everybody farmed. If you were going to have a job, unless there were merchants and stuff in stores, but those were sole proprietors. Those were guys who just did their own thing. If you were going to have a job, you need to be in some sort of farming industry, whether it be some sort of seed and feed delivery, if it's going to be some sort of harvesting person, it's going to be an actual farmer or a farm hand. That's what everybody basically did, because there were no tractors, there were no factories to do all this stuff in, and that's what the skills are going to take. You come into the Industrial Revolution, and your skills needed to be where you were working in a factory and building tractors and building things. You were replaced. The farm people were being replaced. The farm hands were being replaced by things that people were building in factories. So you needed to be able to stay in a factory for 8, 10, 14 hours a day until they started coming up with those laws. You need to be able to do one task and do it very good, because they started the assembly lines and doing things like that. So technology advanced to the point that you needed to be able to work in places like that. Then you move forward another however many years, 100 years it was, and you're going to transition into more of a technology age where you need to be good at computers, things like that. Obviously, that's the world that we're in. Those are big jumps. That's when you're thinking from farming to industry to technology. But obviously, the technology and what you need to know today is totally different. I mean, we're doing stuff right now, obviously, distance learning. This stuff's been going on for years. It's just never been at our level. It's only been at the collegiate level. Most people aren't doing it in high schools. We have the capabilities because other people were doing it. You imagine trying to do something like this 20 years ago when you didn't have it, or when you were an innovator. I took online college classes in 2004. So that's what, 16 years ago? So this is not anything new. It's just new in the way that we're having to do it right now. So me having these skills, we have to have these or we can't work. If you think about a teacher who can't do this stuff, who has strictly done everything, I'm not saying any of our teachers, I'm thinking about teachers across the entire nation, anybody who's just always still done the old school way with just lecturing on the board and just hand out papers, they can't do this right now. And what schools are going to find out is people like that, they're not good for it. In times of crisis and times they might not be good for them. They're going to find other things for them to do, probably lay them off or find them a smaller amount of work to do, so in case something like this happens. So times are changing, things are changing. Obviously, you have to have the different skills and things. A lot of times you talk about like a secretary who grew up. I shouldn't say, a secretary who started working on a typewriter and then she transitioned to a computer. Okay, that's a major change for them, because even though it's still word processing, it's not typing. If you know what a typewriter is, it was strictly just word processing. Now a computer does so much more. And if that person couldn't transition and make those learn, there was somebody who's going to. We mentioned that before in this class. There are kids coming out right now who have way better knowledge about any of this stuff that we're doing, that are coming out of college right now, who could take my job right now and do all this stuff better than me as far as the technology side of things. And there are plenty of other people like that, and that's in every industry. People are having to constantly get relearned. So there are people who are getting fired because those jobs no longer exist. A typewriter builder, that was his only job, no longer exists because they don't need them anymore. Like I was talking about with the farmer, okay, you don't have farmhand jobs anymore. They're replaced by tractors. Of course, that's going to be replaced later. The steam engine is going to be replaced later by gases and things like that. So things are constantly going to be being replaced, and those people who are working in the industry are going to be replaced by whatever is replacing them, because people are learning those jobs already. Like right now, of course, we're in technology age. You think about that right now. Think about what it went from where you were farming. I've told the story before. We were farming by hand, where you had a stick with a little metal piece on the end, and you're out there like this. Okay, and that's what you did, and you could farm however many 10 acres in a season or whatever, and then you get a tractor, okay, that was a steam engine. Now it's, of course, diesel powered and powerful things, but you went from doing this to where you can farm 10 acres in 5 minutes, basically. That's a little exaggeration, but you see how much it went, and now you don't even have to sell anything and drive. Somebody drives it for you. The computer drives it. You can drive the tractor next to you while you're sitting on this tractor while it's driving by itself because it's driven by satellites. You think about that transition and that change, and that's what's happened over the past 200 or 300 years. Imagine what's going to come in the next 200 or 300 years. It's insane to think about that. 200 years ago, how people survived, the skills they had, the country went into industry, moved to urban areas and things like that. Went from country into city areas. Of course, jobs in the cities changed as well. And you think about that from the movement standpoint of people and how they over time have gone from the country living the needs of where the jobs were. The jobs were outside of the city because you couldn't farm on top of wooden buildings in the city. You think about it, Western time. Nobody farmed in the middle of the city. They all farmed outside because the city was the city and the country was where you went farm. Those people who were farming out there then moved into the city where the jobs became when they started building the industries in the Industrial Revolution, because that's where factories were built, because people lived in the city and they had accessibility to jobs right there. The people who were living in the country, the farm hands, the people who had the land, they moved into the city. Of course, those people that stayed out there was no reason for the farmers to move in. They had tractor stuff coming out there. So movements change, and that makes causes for the different types of unemployment, because you know, the people that move in, if I'm more qualified, I move into a city, I may take somebody's job because I'm more qualified, I'm better at my job than they are, which is called structural employment. That's normal stuff. It happens. They're looking at those trends, but what it is up to the industry, it's up to the government to make sure that people are keeping up with those jobs and making sure that you're having opportunities to train those people. That's one of the big things. With the skills changing, you have to be willing to change with them. Why is it that I have to go back to school, get to go back to school when things change so that I can keep up with it? Because if I stop going to school, if I stop trying to learn new things, I will eventually be replaced. And so what I have to do is I have to keep those times. So how does that work? The school can give me some money to go back to school. I can get grants to go back for certain things in different industries. Trying to stay ahead because, again, the government doesn't want me unemployed. They want me to stay in a job. I'll stay in a job and spend money. And that's the whole point, is to be able to spend money for the economy. So I have to change. If I'm going to stay in my job, I'm going to have to change and get you to work that. If I don't have those skills, I lose my job. It's that simple. If I refuse to change with the times, and that's the thing that scares us. We talk about us training you and you going to pick a job, and us trying to prepare you for jobs that don't even exist yet. And even when you get in the workforce, how fast you're going to have to adjust and adapt and change. Because if you don't, there's somebody right behind you who has those skills already, because they're learning those skills. We're teaching you for technology jobs. We're trying to show you how to do those things and have more access to that. And that may not be what it is in 10 years. Who knows? We may all, I don't even know what to even pretend to think right now. Structural unemployment occurs when workers' skills do not match the jobs that are available. If more people out there don't have the jobs, the skills for jobs that are out there, those people are going to be structurally unemployed. And it's because they may have to go back to school and take time on those jobs to be able to get those skills that they need. So maybe they're structurally unemployed for a certain amount of time. It's not frictional employment. They may have been laid off because of that, but the reason they can't get a job is because the skills that they have don't match what's available. That could happen in just in one small area, or it could happen across an entire nation. I'm going to stop there and move to the next one.